Hey guys, it's Doris, and I just wanted to do a news video along with a little review of Smackdown last night, seeing how I wasn't able to stream it. So we started Smackdown off with Charlotte versus Asuka. That match ended via no contest due to the interference from Bayley, Io, and Dakota. So the match ended up being stopped. So there was no winner in that. We also saw AJ Styles against Karrion Kross, and there was some outside interference by Scarlett. Mia Yim, who happened to be in AJ Styles' corner, helped counteract that by taking care of Scarlett. AJ ended up winning the match by pinfall when Mia sent Scarlett over the announcer's table. We saw Theory attack Andrade Escobar over in the back area before their title match. There was a storyline injury, and Theory comes out to the ring for their match and says that he's not going to be able to go, so the ref might as well call it a forfeit. And all of LWO come out. It's obvious that Escobar can't go. He's got his knee wrapped, he's got his shoulder wrapped, but Adam Pearce comes out and says that Theory's not going to get away that easily, that because Calgary was promised a championship match, he's putting Rey Mysterio in the match. So Theory ends up having to defend his title against Rey Mysterio. We ended up with a new U.S. champion. Yes, Rey Mysterio did beat Austin Theory by pinfall for the title. Now, my only question to that is, now are we going to see Escobar versus Rey? Because Escobar is the #1 contender. So are we going to see LWO versus LWO? And when it comes for the actual title, when the title is on one of them, are we going to see as much respect as we did the first time? We also saw LA Knight against Top Dollar. LA Knight did beat Top Dollar. There was a surprise when Edge came out. He is having his 25-year celebration next week when they are in Toronto, because he's from Toronto, and he says he wants one more match, but he wants it with Sheamus. And he tells a feel-good story about how it's because of Sheamus that he's back in the ring. And he invites Sheamus down to the ring and asks Sheamus if Sheamus will do a match with him next week. Sheamus does a feel-good thing and then agrees, and tells Edge he hopes that Edge hasn't made a big mistake by asking Sheamus to do the match. And then we saw the final segment was a bloodline segment. Roman comes out with Solo and Heyman. He asks Heyman, where is Jimmy? Heyman says he doesn't know. And Roman ends up giving Heyman the third degree, and the lights were kind of dim, and then they kind of brighten up a little bit, and we see Jimmy on the outside of the ring, on the floor. It was apparent that he must have climbed over the barricade or came down, was under the ring or something, but he's standing there in his hoodie that he had on the night of SummerSlam. and he comes in the ring, and he says that he didn't do what he did for Roman. Roman says, what do you want? Do you want power? Do you want money? Do you want a boat? Do you want a car? And Jimmy says he doesn't want anything from Roman. Again, he didn't do it for Roman. And then the Usos music hits and Jay comes down. We have all of the bloodline in the ring now. Jay confronts Jimmy and says he has to tell him why. Jimmy says he didn't do it because he was jealous. He did it because he loves Jay. He didn't want to see Jay get poisoned by the power like Roman, and he doesn't want him to turn back into someone like Roman. He offers to let Jay super kick him. Jay does not. Jimmy goes out of the ring, slowly makes his way up the ramp, and Jay ends up super kicking Roman. He gets attacked by Solo, but gets the upper hand, super kicks Solo, super kicks Roman again, and then gets out of the ring and calls to Jimmy. Jimmy makes his way back down to the ramp, thinking that he was going to forgive Jimmy, goes to hug Jay and gets a super kick. Jay ends up ending Smackdown by screaming he's done with the bloodline, he's done with Jimmy, he's done with WWE. And that was how Smackdown went off the air. I don't believe that's true. They do have a storyline that is in the works for Jay versus Jimmy. There is talks of, as we talked about last week at Raw, of Rikishi being special guest referee for the Jimmy versus Jay match. There is supposed to be a Jimmy versus Jay match, so for all of you that think that Jay is really done with WWE and SmackDown and Raw, he's not. I believe it's going to unfold, and maybe they have Rikishi come in and talk him into saying, or so that's just part of the storyline. He's not really leaving. Relax. But yeah, so that was SmackDown. Wasn't the greatest. I was glad that we got a new U.S. champion. We got a little bit of a surprise from Edge. We all expected Edge because they're in Canada, and we were expecting either Natalya or Bret Hart to be there because they're in Calgary. Neither were there. But overall, not a bad SmackDown, not the greatest SmackDown. But yeah, so on to some news, my friends. As I said, there is talks or reports of WWE having WRKD Radio tweeted that Rikishi is slated to be a possible guest referee for the Jimmy Jay Saga match. Nothing has been officially announced about them having a match, but there is a storyline in the works. Also, people are questioning whether Charlotte and Andrade are done as far as their marriage. Apparently, they've both equally stopped following each other on all social media. Charlotte has removed the ring emoji from her bio. And Andrade released a short on YouTube of him watching TV alone at night, drinking a glass of wine, laying in his bed. So, no official reports. No one has commented on it. No one has announced anything. Ric Flair has also stopped following Andrade. So, a lot of people are speculating right now that there could be a little bit of turmoil. As we know, Andrade still wrestles for AEW, so I'm sure their schedules collide with each other. They probably never get to see each other. I'm not saying they are separating, but that is what it looks like. Marty Jannetty. If you watch the Dark Side of the Ring, apparently he murdered a man when he was 13 to 14 years old. Apparently the man, according to Jannetty, tried raping him. Jannetty killed him and burnt his body. Now, Jannetty is upset because people are in an uproar and referring to him as a murderer. He released a response saying, "Are you kidding me? A man tries to rape a 13-year-old boy, and the boy defends himself, and you are going to call him a murderer." I believe from what I've seen and read, he did cooperate fully with the police. I do not believe he was ever charged with murder. But yeah, so that's a little bit of backlash that's coming out of the Dark Side of the Ring for Jannetty. He doesn't appreciate being called a murderer. Okay. The new Encore company that is the WWE and the UFC merged. Apparently they have started a board. They have announced who their board members are, all but one. There's a little bit of a mix of WWE, MMA, and I'm sorry, not MMA. There's like a mix of both companies on this board. Vince McMahon is there. The one person that seems to not be on the board is Triple H, Paul Levesque. He has no spot on the board. WWE does have the last spot to choose the last board member. Whether they will choose him or not, I don't know. But yeah. So their board of selectmen is, and the deal is supposed to be finalizing, I believe, the end of this month. It's not completely finalized yet, but it at least not publicly finalized. But apparently it is kind of finalized between the two because they've already selected their board of what do you call it? And it has been announced what Roman Reigns' injury was from SummerSlam. It's something to do with his hip or back. So he just needs to take it easy for a little bit. No high impact landings. You saw, if you watched Smackdown, you saw after Jay kicked him, he did get up very slowly and was able to still perform, but that wasn't a full-blown match. So also MLW is apparently suing WWE for trying to blacklist them. They're claiming WWE is using their reputation and their long time name to get different venues to cancel MLW show events. I don't know if they're able to prove that or if it's just speculation, because they had a lot of places like Madison Square Garden cancel on them. They're also claiming to, I believe, try to stop athletes from going with MLW. So they're suing WWE. The lawsuit's been going on for a little bit. I really don't expect anything to come out of it. And I think that's about it, guys, as far as news. I may do a stream tonight. Not a wrestling stream, but like a panel stream. I'm not 100% sure yet. But I will definitely be on Monday for Raw. Alright, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys later. Peace, love, chicken grease. I'll talk to you guys. Bye. Bye.